Hey, you guys, what's going on? Facebook, YouTube, Periscope. Good morning, good morning, good morning, you guys. Good morning. Super excited to be here with you guys this morning. I'm going to give you guys a minute to come on in. Come on in. We're getting chiseled by God again today. I'm excited about the chiseling, y'all, even though the chisel doesn't feel good. Oh my goodness. Come on in. Come on in. It is a rainy day today in Tampa, Florida. It is raining. Great morning, great morning. Let me know who's here and where you are tuning in from. Let me know who's here and where you're tuning in from. I love it. I love it. I love it. Good morning, Stacy. How are you, gorgeous? Yes, yes, yes. You all be sure to share this broadcast. Be sure to share this broadcast. Super excited about what God is doing. Yes, Queens, New York in the building. Yes, yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. So you guys, listen, today is day 5 of the Chiseled by God 10-day fast. Today is day 5. We're halfway through. We're at the halfway mark, right? Now, I don't know about you, but I've had a struggle, okay, and a slip, a struggle and a slip, a struggle and a slip, right? But I got back up and I got back in the game. I got back in the fast, and it's so funny because I was talking to someone and they said, you know what, I wouldn't tell nobody. And I said, well, let me tell you why I tell people when I slip. I tell them because people think that if they mess up, then they have to quit. If they mess up, then they can't go forward. If they mess up, all of these things. But it's not the truth. And so in order to demonstrate that you can get back up again, that's what I do. Hey, Kim, how are you, gorgeous? Good to see you, girl. Listen, I'm so excited for you. You guys, Kim is launching her business. I'm super excited for her. She is all the way up in the Delaware, honey. Isn't that right, Kim? Aren't you in Delaware? But she is up north and she is doing her thing. I'm super proud of her. She's been working on this for a while and finally has stepped out into the deep, right? So you guys, let me talk. Yes, tomorrow. Woo! So you know what, Kim? Listen, I'm going to have to call you so I can play your word for you so that you can hear it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to call y'all so y'all can get y'all's word, okay? All right. Yes, Dover, Delaware in the building. Lunch and launch, honey. Come on, lunch and launch. Kim, make sure you drop the registration link there for anyone who may be in the Delaware area so that they can join you. Drop the link for the registration. I definitely want to put that out there so that people can access it. Yes, listen, there's one thing about me, honey, I believe in supporting my folks, honey. I support my folks. So you guys, today we're talking, as we talk about being chiseled by God, about wash me. If you've ever watched someone do sculpting, where they have the chisel and the hammer and they're chiseling, right? As they chisel, when they want to see what they've done, then they wash it down. They wash it down, right? And so, chiseling has been happening. I don't know about you all, but chiseling has been happening for me. There are things that God has been chiseling in me. There are things that God has been chiseling off me. God has even been chiseling me physically. Y'all listen. I'm telling you, God has been chiseling me physically. I'm going to take a picture after I get off the live and I'm going to share it. But you guys, my abs are starting to form. God has been chiseling me physically and chiseling my mind. You see, listen, the most important thing that God can chisel is your mind, because your mind leads to everything else. Your mind is the gateway to everything else, right? And so once he can get your mind right, he can get everything else in your life right. He's got to get your mind right first. And so as God is chiseling us, we've got to say, God, listen, I'm ready to get washed. I was listening to the rain and I pulled out what I was going to wear. And I said, oh, no, I'm not wearing that. Can't wear that in all this rain and wind, right? And so I had to change my outfit. And I did something that I normally don't do. I don't think I've ever worn jeans to teach. at the university. Like I haven't worn jeans, because we're always dressing in professional attire. Listen, it's Friday, and listen, I'm getting chiseled by God, right? And so and I got a shirt with God on it. Lord, what they gonna do with me? But I decided to put on jeans today, and I'm gonna tell you why. When you are getting washed, honey, you need to be comfortable, right? Because it's something about the washing that, it's like, whoa. You know how when water first comes on and it's cold, but it's closing the pores? My God, listen to this. When you get your hair shampooed, what they do is they shampoo it in hot water, because what the hot water does is it opens up your pores. Like the beginning of this fast was all about opening up your pores, opening you up. And then when he gets ready to close your pores, right? Then they rinse it in cold water. They rinse it in cold waters to close the pores. Now it doesn't stop there. See, we're at the halfway mark. Some things have been opened up. Time for some things to get closed up. And then God is going to take it to the next step. But you all listen, when you're getting washed, there are phases to the wash. Think about when you're washing clothes. Hey, Pastor RJ, think about when you're washing clothes. When you wash clothes, you start out in the wash cycle, right? First, the water has to fill up in the washer, right? The water has to fill up in the washer. And then once the water's filled up and the detergent is put in, then it begins to be agitated. Agitated. The washer begins to be agitated, right? We don't like being agitated, but it's the agitation that actually allows the dirt to be removed. My God, today, the agitation is what allows the dirt to be removed. So when we say get washed, listen, let God put some detergent on you. Let him put some water in, let him put some detergent in, and then let him agitate you. Agitation occurs with situations and people. It occurs with situations and people. There'll be situations in your life that agitate you. There'll be people in your life who agitate you. There'll be things in your life that agitate you. That agitation is designed to remove some things from your life. It first has to be agitated off of you. It's got to be agitated off of you. Hold on, y'all. But the agitation is key. You can't get clean without the agitation. Sometimes it's not just the agitation. Sometimes you got to be scrubbed before and put a little pre-wash on, right? Because it's so deep, right? But the goal is to be agitated to the point that all of the dirt, all of the stains, all of the impurities are washed out, right? But once they come out, then, you guys, then it is time to rinse. And when the rinse happens, multiple things happen. I don't know about you guys, but I like my clothes to smell really good and I like them to be soft. So I use fabric softener, right? I use fabric softener. So as the water fills back in, it's agitated off, it's spun out. The water got to spin out. So if you're feeling like your world is spinning, just know some stuff is being spun out. It's being spun out. It's being spun out so that you can be rinsed, right? In the rinse, the water fills up. The fabric softener goes in, and the fabric softener is designed to get into the fabric, to increase the fragrance of the fabric, to soften it, to take out the wrinkles, to make it static free, right? So the fabric softener goes in and it does all these things. It's in there and it washes, but the agitation is not the same. Have you ever noticed that the movement in a rinse is not the same as the movement in the wash? And the wash is, but in the rinse is just enough agitation for the fabric softener to really get in, for it to soak in, right? Then after the fabric softener has worked, after the fragrance has gotten in the fabric, after the fabric has been softened up, after it's been given a coating so that it's not staticky, then you got to spin again. Y'all, I want y'all to pay attention to these spins. So it begins to spin, and all the water and the excess fabric softener spins out. Now, once that spins out, you've been washed, you've been rinsed, and you've gone through the spin. And now it's time for you to dry. You all, as we're going through this fast and we're being chiseled by God, one of the things that I'm real clear on is some things have changed in me. Some things have changed in me, and it's not like I was forcing them to change. These are things that happened as a result of me changing my thoughts, changing my focus, allowing God to chisel me, allowing God to wash me. My laptop just died that quick, y'all. Allowing God to wash me. All of that is a part of the process. And when you understand the process and you understand what God is doing, my God, you can appreciate it differently. You can appreciate it differently. You'll find yourself in a place where you're clearer, you have greater focus, you have a greater understanding, you have greater endurance, all of those things. So now the question becomes, will you get washed? Will you let God wash you? Wash away the impurities. In this case, it's the sin of our lives. It's the thoughts, the negative thoughts. It's the thoughts that aren't productive. It's the sexual immorality. It's the lust. It's the all of the things that it's the lying. It's the gossiping. It's the bitterness. It's the anger. It's the jealousy. It's anything in you not like God. Anything not like God. And that's not just sexual. See, we always focus on the sexual, but it's not just sexual. In fact, the sexual is probably the last thing you need to worry about, because the other stuff is the stuff that the most people do, right? So let's really allow God to not just wash us, but wash our minds. Oh, Pastor RJ, I appreciate you. As he washes our minds, he begins to change our perspective. Look, all I can tell you is from my personal experience, what God does for me. Y'all know I'm very transparent. I'm very authentic. Like, you're going to always get like Dr. V. Okay. And sometimes people think, it's too much, or I reveal too much. But let me tell you why I reveal what I reveal. Because when God changes me, then he can change anybody. When God shifts some things in me, he can shift it in you. See, I'm not one of those people that's afraid of looking at me. I'm not one of those people afraid at facing me. And the problem is, too many people won't really look at themselves. They won't look at themselves honestly. They won't be real with themselves. And if you can't be real with yourself, you definitely can't be real with anyone else. Why don't we try it? Why don't we try it today? Let God agitate us so he can pull some of that dirt up and off, right? Go through the spin so he can spin the excess off, right? Let him fill you back up so that he can rinse you, right? With a little fabric softener so that you can produce a fragrance that you're proud of, so that you can produce a fragrance that pleases God, so that you can produce a fragrance, right? So we miss it when God talks about, our praise being a sweet savor. It's a fragrance. There's a fragrance that's produced from our praise. There's a fragrance that's produced from our worship. Remember last week, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, I told you guys, get your music list together, your praises, that list that when you feel like you're spinning out of control, it centers you. It allows you to get centered again and focus on who God is and what God is doing in your life. I promise you this, that what God is doing in this season is so incredible. And it's not designed to hurt you or harm you. He's not picking on you. He picked you because there's something that he needs produced in the earth. When the word of God says the earth is moaning and groaning for the sons of God to arise, that's us, waiting for us to show up as we've been created to show up. Fully us, not being anyone else. Being us, who we were created to be. So you never have to imitate someone other than God. That's who you imitate. But as you do that, and as you go through the process, you'll discover that you begin to be a light to other people. Maybe they can't see God so clearly. Maybe they don't hear God so clearly, but they see and hear you. The Apostle Paul said this. He said, follow me. Not just follow me, but follow me as I follow Christ. Today, let's get washed to the point that God smells our fragrance and it's pleasing to him. and others see our walk and they see God and they can imitate the God in us. Not so much about imitating us, but imitate the God in us. Following us, but following the God in us is the key. You all look, in the midst of this rain, don't be afraid to get wet, because you can't get washed if you never get wet. Listen, you guys, I absolutely love you guys. And if you want to join us on the Chiseled by God fast, it's not too late. Yeah, we're on day 5, but you can pick up here, right? Start here, right? Start where you are. You don't have to wait. What I want you to do is go to the Chiseled by God group, Chiseled by God group, join the group. There's some things I'm going to be doing in the group this weekend, especially as we're going through the journey. But this is the next thing. Join our Chiseled by God project. And the Chiseled by God project is more than just a book. We're producing a book, a devotional, a movement. And I heard the other day, movie. So we're doing all of that. Listen, I'm not going to be shocked by anything that God does. But what I'm doing tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to do a 1-hour meeting where I talk to you guys about the project, what we're doing, let you know how you can be a part of the Chiseled by God book, the devotional, the movement. Who knows? Maybe even the movie, Pastor RJ. Listen, I'll put that link in the title once we get off here so that you guys can go register, join us. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be epic. Look, I love you guys to life and life more abundant. Have an absolutely amazing and incredible. Pause for a second. Listen. I wasn't trying to be prophetic. I'm always prophetic, but I wasn't trying to be prophetic today, but I got to say something, but give me a second. I got to get my snap in. When I drop my pictures, y'all understand why I'm looking chiseled, okay? Because I've not been working out. So listen, as I was trying to get off, as I was trying to exit the live, I heard God say some things very clearly. I heard him say, you're chosen, you're chosen, you're chosen, you're chosen, you're chosen. Some of you out here are trying to figure out why you're going through the stuff that you're going through, and it is because you're chosen. He's picked you, and he's picked you because he knows that you can do this. You will stay in. You will make it. With all the things that I'm going through right now, and yes, I'm engaging in soothing behaviors, y'all. Like, listen, when you rub your hands and stuff, those are soothing behaviors. I'm going through soothing behaviors, and I've noticed that they've increased because I've got to soothe myself, right? Because there's a lot going on, and this is my way of comforting myself in a healthy way. But what I heard God say is that with all that's going on in your life, he needs you to stay focused. Don't lose focus on what he's called you to do. Don't lose focus on what he has for you to do. And y'all listen, there are a lot of losses happening right now. There are a lot of people dying right now, right? There are a lot of people dying. People are experiencing losses, and they're experiencing multiple losses, like almost at the same time. Focus. Listen, I need y'all to hear me. I need y'all to hear me. Focus. Remember, everyone in our lives is on loan to us from God. Everyone in our lives is on loan to us from God. Everyone. And when God is ready for them to go home, when God is ready for them to return to him, who are we to be mad at God when he only loaned them to us? Yes, I get it. You're sad. I get it. You didn't want it to happen. Like, nobody wants the people that they love to die. Nobody wants that. But when it happens, remember this. I want you to just hold on to this, that God loaned them to you. Be grateful for the time that you had them. Be grateful for the time that you had them. And what God is going to do, y'all, I want you to hear me. God is going to process some things out of you and put some things in you as a result of what you're going through. Now, you think that it's just you lost that person. God, how could you take them away? Baby, listen, you need to understand that sometimes God removes people to give to you, to pour into you, to produce in you. There are some things that God's trying to do, especially, listen to me, especially people you rely on a lot. People that you rely on a lot. Sometimes we put people in God's place, and God got to move them so we can see him. We don't want to hear that, and we don't want to deal with that, but y'all, come on. It's the truth. It's the truth. And if nothing else, it should be a wake-up call to us that life is not promised. And we don't know when our day will be, but our day will come. Now listen, y'all, be clear about that. And what will be said when your day arrives? What will be said? What will people say? What will be your impact? If you don't know what your impact will be, the greatest thing you can do for that person who has gone on to glory is to make sure that your impact is felt. So the day that you're gone, you will leave something in this earth, that you will leave a legacy, that you will have impacted people's lives, that you will have done what God called you to do. That's why funerals are not for the dead. Funerals are for the living. The word that's spoken is not for the one who's gone. The word that's spoken is for the living. I pray that this word agitates you. And it agitates you enough to get in your purpose. That's why they say the place with the most potential is the cemetery, the graveyard. Because people have been buried with their dreams and their aspirations and all of their talents that never got used. Because they were afraid, because they were afraid of what people would think. They didn't think they were qualified. All of this mess, y'all. But I came to tell you that what God has put in you must come out. And it's time for you to bring it out. And if you lost someone, now is really the time for you to bring it out. You need to bring it out with the fury. You need to get agitated and make sure that you create the impact that you were supposed to create in the earth. One thing I can say, right now my dad is in the hospital. He's in ICU. If my dad died today, he's left an impact. If he went today, he left an impact. And that's the one thing that I could hold on to. That's the one thing that, and I can say, God, thank you for loaning him to me for 82 years. God, I thank you. You see, we get so selfish. We get selfish with people. We get selfish with people, and we think that it's just about us. It's not just about us. God has an ultimate plan. He knows the end from the beginning. Our day has already been written in the book of life. It's already been established. The question is, what are you going to do until the day comes? And will you do what it is that God needs you to do? And will you leave an impact? Of all the things that have transpired in my life, I think the thing that changed me the most, the things that changed me the most happened in my senior year in high school. The change that was really when I knew that there was nothing I couldn't get through. And sometimes I have to remind myself that there's nothing I can't get through. There's nothing that I can't make it on the other side of. Now you guys may say, well, Dr. B, what happened your senior year in high school that let you know that? I had 3 major losses, all within 2 months. In 2 months of my senior year, when I was 17 years old, I had 3 major losses. And if I can make it through that, I can make it through anything. So when I began to question God, can I do this? Or when I began to feel like I can't do this, or I won't make it through this, God reminds me. He reminds me of who I am. I'm a warrior. I ain't no punk out here. You need to understand that. You see, situations and circumstances are not taking me out. I refuse. There's nothing and no one I'm afraid of like that. No, nobody but God. So when it gets tight, I get tough. I don't wimp out. I don't back up. I can't. I'm not built like that. I'm not built to give up. I'm built to go in. And every now and then I got to pep talk my own self. So y'all listen, this ain't even for y'all. This ain't even for y'all. This for me. This is my reminder to me of who I am. So when the circumstances of my life look crazy and everything is agitated and I'm going through this spin and it seems like everything is spinning out of control, it is my reminder of who I am, to get rooted and grounded, not back up. Listen. You're going to be like saying, you don't want these problems. You don't want these problems, not these over here. And I want you to find that thing in you. Find that thing in you that allows you to stand boldly with your head held high. Where people are, oh, who do they think they are? I'm going to tell you who I am. I'm a daughter of the Most High. Baby, don't try it. I know who I am. I know who I am in the spirit and in the natural. I was telling my class the other day that I don't bust people over the head with my PhD. I don't. Yes, I tell you, call me Dr. V, because listen, my last name has changed a few times. But listen, I don't bust people over the head with my education. I don't bust people over the head with my accolades. I don't bust people over the head with what I've done. I don't do that. I try to make sure I stay relatable. I want people to know that, listen, yes, I do have a PhD, but it's not mine. It's ours. Listen, I got that for us to show what we can do, to be an example so that people can know what's possible. So I told them that someone had tried me. And I said, I try not to have to do this. I try not to. But like the Apostle Paul said, listen, I'm not bragging. But if anybody had a right to brag, it would be me. And then he went through and he began to detail the things about himself. He said, all of this to say that all of that is nothing without God. Y'all, my senior year, getting ready to graduate from high school, the time when you should be excited. You're closing a chapter of your life, going into another. And I remember thinking, God, why would you allow me to go through this? Like, why would you do this to me? I felt picked on. My senior year, I felt picked on. Now, the first thing I did. So I got pregnant my senior year in high school, had a full academic scholarship, but I decided not to have the baby. I actually had an abortion, but that was a significant loss and a difficult decision. But it was one that changed me because I knew after that I would never make that decision again. Reason I got 7 kids. I'm like, no, ain't nothing being aborted over here, right? Then my grandmother, who raised me, died about 2 to 3 weeks later. And the guilt that I felt, like this is my fault. If I hadn't done that, then she would still be here. Then a few weeks after that, my 14-year-old brother drowned. And we were close. Even though we didn't live together, we were close. That was my amazing chocolate brother. And it was hard. All of that right before I walked across the stage. So people that I love didn't get to see me walk across the stage. It's a lot of my life that they didn't get to see. So you all, when you look at me, you have no idea what I've been through. Have no idea what my life has looked like. You may not know I grew up in a 3-room house with no indoor plumbing. You may not know that. You may just see the doctor. You may not understand why bathrooms are so important to me because I grew up without one. But you don't know that because all you see is a cute face and a little waist, and I'm working on getting it littler. But you don't see that. Y'all, I'm telling you, when I tell y'all you can do it, I'm telling you from a place of having gone through hell. Looking at me and seeing me, you wouldn't think that I've been through an abusive relationship. You wouldn't think that. You would think Dr. V will never be in an abuse. Ain't nobody finna abuse Dr. V. But I went through an abusive relationship. No, he never put his hands on me because I promised y'all I'd be in prison. But it was abusive nonetheless. It affected me. It affected my health. I almost died in that relationship. But you don't know that. So when people talk about, independent women and how they listen, I promise you, it's not my preference. It's not my preference. I don't want to always have to be strong. I don't want to have to always make the decisions. That's not what I want. I want to meet a man who is so strong and I can trust him so much that I can be at my weakest and my most vulnerable and know that he would never take advantage of me. He would never lead me down a wrong path. That he could guide me and he could direct me. He could lead me like God leads me. Like that is what my preference is. That I can be totally feminine. That I could allow all my femininity to show up. My girl Sharita was talking about that. And she was talking about how, wanting a man that made her feel safe. And look, I'm real clear. I became even clearer this year. That the thing that I needed most from a man was safety. I needed to feel safe with him. I needed to know that he could provide for me and he would provide for me. I know how to provide for myself, but I'm tired. I'm tired. The truth is, I'm tired. I'm tired of having to provide for myself, and I'm especially tired of having to provide for myself with a man in my life. That's some bull crap. And that's not what I want. I don't want that. I want to know that I can pursue my dreams full out. I've got someone to support me, and I don't even know how I ended up here, but I just want to encourage you. I want to encourage you. I think my daddy did this. I think my daddy did this mess. Being with my dad, and this is why I want fathers, I want you to hear this. Being with my dad for the past few weeks, it's like a dream come true for me. I know that sounds strange. I'm 55 years old. It's like a dream come true for me. Because I didn't grow up in the house with my dad. My dad was in my life. He would pick me up almost every weekend and I would spend the weekend. But I didn't have him on a day-to-day basis. And having him has been incredible. Just to be able to say, Daddy, I love you. Just to be able to mess with him, for us to crack jokes and for him to share some things with me that I didn't know about him and his life. For him to be vulnerable. For him to shed a tear because I treat him like he's a star, like he's a celebrity or something. And I said, Daddy, you are to me. Like you're my superhero. And dads, that's important. Your children need that, especially your daughters. Let them know that they're safe with you. Let them know that that's how they should feel with any man that they marry. If they're in a relationship with a man, they should feel safe with him like they feel with you. And if they don't need to be with that man. Because the one that will do that is out there. Women, let me say this. If you have some damage in your relationship with your father and he's living, fix that thing. It's going to be very difficult for you to have a healthy relationship until you do. Because the truth of the matter is you'll always be trying to fix your relationship with your father in every relationship with the man you have. And you're going to miss the man that was created for you, trying to fix stuff with other people. Fix it. Fix it. Men, if you have issues with your mother, fix that. You're never going to be the man a woman needs in her life until you fix that relationship. Because you're always going to have some stuff going on that has nothing to do with her. She'll never be able to be who you want her to be. Because you're always going to be looking for mama. And you're going to be looking to fix that thing with mama. Fix it, deal with it, face it. Forgive her. Forgive yourself. Be there. Be there for your children. And if you have done anything that you think could have damaged your children, talk to them about that. Especially if they're young. Fix that stuff while they're young so that they're not our age still going through stuff from a parental relationship. The thing I love about God is this. God knows absolutely everything about me. And he loves me just like I am. Flaws and all, because I do have some. Loves me, flaws and all. See, that's that agitation. This is what agitation does. Pull stuff up so it can be washed away. And most of us have stuff that needs to be pulled up. It needs to be agitated out of us so it can be washed away. Love your mother and your father. And love you. Love you enough to choose you. Love you enough to deal with you, face you, fix you. That's what being chiseled by God is all about. I pray that this word today has somehow blessed you, that you've gotten something that you needed, that you have been able to be agitated just enough for some stuff to come up that you can deal with. God isn't picking on you, and neither am I. God picked you, and he picked me to agitate you. So if I ever agitate you and I get on your nerves with the stuff that I say that you know you need to hear, I'll take the thank you later. I'll settle for whatever you give me now, but I'll take the thank you later. See, I know that's my purpose. I come to be an agitator, a disruptor. I came to disrupt your normal patterns because they're not normal. And God has more in store for you. But the only way you can get to the more is by dealing with you, dealing with your past, dealing with the stuff. People go to therapy a lot of times for a long time and never work through what they need to work through. Just keep going to therapy, keep going to therapy. That's because you haven't met the right person, right? You haven't met the right therapist. So I'm grateful for my girl, Tammy Robinson, and what she does. Because see, she does therapy, but she's got a prophetic nature that allows her to see beyond the surface. And the Spirit of God in her allows her to touch people in ways that, listen, just regular therapy doesn't. It just doesn't. So I'm just saying, you guys, look, it's time to really get on the other side of you. It's time for me to get on the other side of me. It's time for us to get on the other side of us so that we can do fully what it is that God has called us to do the way that God has called us to do it. Because in the absence of that, we're missing it. I got to go to work. Okay, I've been on here much longer than I had planned, but I got to go pour into these students in my psychology class. Listen, y'all, we have so much fun in that class. But it's, again, how part of my purpose. Listen, if you guys want to be a part of the Chiseled by God process of the fast, of the book, of the movement, of the movie, I'm declaring the movie, right? I'm going to put the link in the title of this live for you guys to go register. Go register. Tonight at 8:30 p.m., I'm going to be sharing how you can be a part of this book project that we're launching. The book will be out by December. We're looking at, like a December launch right around Christmas as a gift to the world, a gift that can be given. So you guys definitely register, be a part of it. I'm looking forward to it. Know that I love you to life and life more abundant. Go be great and let God use you. I love you. Mwah.